Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So I've been running and racing on the track for over 30 years. I started running on the track racing when I was 11 years old, so over 30 years. And I've just made a discovery. I think I've been starting wrong all these years. So the other day I was watching other people training and I was watching how they were starting, and then I realised that I was doing something a little bit different to most of them, and I couldn't figure out why I was doing that, and it didn't make any sense to me at all. So what was I doing wrong? Well, if I show you an example of me starting, and I will start like a fictitious race, have a look and see if you can spot what I'm doing wrong. If you spotted it, well done. If you haven't, I'll give you a clue. Have a think about how we would normally run and what our running style is. So when we move our right leg forward, our right arm goes backwards, and the same for the left. But when I'm starting, can you spot that my right arm is over my right knee? Which means that in order for me to actually run normally, at some point my body has to make an adjustment in order to correct my incorrect stance, because otherwise I'll be running in a really weird way. So at some point it has to switch to make sure that my right knee goes forward and my right arm comes back. If I slow the video down of me starting incorrectly, you can see that the way that my body compensates is to do a very, very short sort of hitch. So before my feet start moving, my arms switch positions so that I've actually got my body position in the correct place in order to start running. Now all of that takes a fraction of a second, but does that make a difference to my overall race? Something else I then wanted to have a look at was, how do elite athletes start their races? Am I doing something different to the rest of the world? Now I went and found the 2018 not the World Athletics Championships, but a championships that was held at the London Stadium, and these are top class athletes. It's interesting to see how they all start. Now many of them start in what I would call the correct position, so they actually have their opposite leg to their arm forward, but one or two of them are standing in very, very strange stances. If you look at the athlete in green, third from the left, you can see that he's starting in the same way that I would start, and also has all of his weight over his right leg. The Chinese athlete in red actually doesn't really even have some sort of starting technique at all. It just seems to be sort of standing there waiting for whatever, and I'm not entirely sure why that is. Now when the gun goes, and I've freeze framed it literally at the point where the gun goes, that is their starting position. Some of them with very, very good starting actions, so they're low, they're ready to drive away from that line. Some of them, as I said, not entirely sure even why they think they're supposed to be there or what they're anticipating is going to happen. So what actually happens when the gun goes? Well, all seem to take a step up off their back foot, so they lift their front foot up and then place it back down again. So where I'm taking time switching my arms, they're taking time lifting their leg and placing it back down where it started in order to give them that drive away from the line. If you look at the Jamaican athlete in yellow, his knee raises so far off the ground, I am sure that his foot has got to be almost a foot above the line before he plants it back down again and drives away. Very, very strange techniques. Now I don't do that. It's quite difficult to actually in fact replicate doing that. I tend to push off with my front foot. That is the first step that I take. I can't understand why anyone would take their first step as an up and a down motion, and even worse, taking their first step and actually putting their foot further behind the line than it was when it started. Surely if you wanted to make a fast getaway, you'd make sure that you were in that first position to take that first step and get yourself in front of your rivals, surely. So this is my point. Does these starts make a difference to your overall race time? So my hitch arms, it makes a fraction of a second, as does lifting your leg and planting it back down before you drive away from the line. If it was a time trial, those actions probably wouldn't make much of a difference to your overall race time. But races aren't run as a time trial, they're run strategically and tactically. If you're the sort of person that wants to run at the back, someone like, say, a Kelly Holmes, or if you're old enough, you might even remember Dave Wattle running in the 800 metres, starting from way back and coming through to win. If you're that kind of runner, then it probably doesn't really matter, particularly on your start, because you're going to go to the back of the field, and therefore you know that what you're going to do is have a fast finish at the end. But what if you're in a 1500 metre race and you're drawn on the inside line? Well, what's going to happen is everyone is going to come from the outside over into your lane. That's what's going to happen. Therefore, if you haven't got yourself away quick enough, well, if the person next to you has managed to steal half a yard on you because they've got away quicker than you have, so you're adjusting your arms or lifting your knee, if they've managed to get half a yard on you, managed to get their elbows in front of you, well, then what that's going to do is stop you from then getting past them, which may mean that you then get boxed, or you have to chop your stride in order to avoid getting tripped or tripping somebody else up. So in fact, that half a yard all of a sudden becomes far greater and can affect, I believe, your overall race. So what do you think? Do you think I've got a point there? Do you think that it makes a difference? Or do you think that it makes not a jot of difference whatsoever? Interested to know your thoughts. First of all, I'm definitely going to switch my arms. It's something that I've naturally done, and I think that I'm going to have to really think about it next time I do a race. As I say, it's something that I've done for many years now, so it's quite difficult to change, but it's something I'll have a go at doing. But how do you start? Do you start with one arm over your knee, or do you have your arms switched? Have a look, maybe video yourself, maybe see if you can play it back in slow motion, and you might see those small motions that you actually never realized existed before. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Hope you found this video useful. Let me know some comments, give it a like if you did, and I hope to see you for the next video. Take care, and remember, enjoy your run.